superstars in here today. This is Prichard.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Jim Feist Handicapping Show here at Dom DeMarco's Pizzeria and Wine Bar, located at 9785 West Charleston Boulevard. My name is Tommy Canale. I'll be the host of the show. Sitting next to me is the man, the myth, the legend, the one and only Jim Feist. Jim, welcome back. Another exciting year of football. You ready for another year of shows?
I am totally excited. I love being here. I love doing these shows. I get to sit with some of the best people in the business, people that actually know how to win. Which, I mean, everybody's a handicapper because they have a team they like or they dislike. But people that know how to win, they're hard to find. But these two guys know how to win. And everybody that's on the show last year and will be this year are all winners.
Before I bring in our guest, we are live on both Dom DeMarco's YouTube channel and Proline TV. Text your questions or comments anytime during our show. And following the show today on Proline TV, Greg DePalm will be live with more pro and college football handicapping talk. But let's bring in our guests. First, we got somebody that's returning with us from last year, the host of the Let's Bet podcast and founder of Prichard's Picks. He's been a professional sports bettor since the early 2000s. Scott Prichard, welcome back to the show.
Tommy, good to be here. And just to follow up on Mr. Feist's point that, you know, we've got a great live studio audience, 5 stars hanging out with other 5 stars. I see that like attracts like. I've always said that plumbers hang out with other plumbers, pro sports bettors, handicappers hang out with other handicappers, and lawyers hang out with other criminals.
And next to you is a winning professional sports handicapper, the Las Vegas Hilton Stardust South Point handicapping champion, and a 9-time baseball handicapping champion, TV host and producer. I guess they call him Chipper, but we're going to say welcome to Chip Chirimbes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Tommy. It's great to be here. You know, Jim was here. I had to get involved.
Jim, let me go back to you before I start asking questions. How did we do week one?
I was 3-4 in the Circa Invitational, and I had 3 winners, 4 losers. It looked like it was going to be a really bad day because the first 3 games all lost, and then I went 3 out of 4 at the end. Just, you know, at a couple, I was 3 out of 5 in totals, 0-2 on the sides, which is kind of typical for me. I have a better record in totals than I do in sides, and that seems to go every year like that.
I'm going to ask you this, and I got a different question for our guest, but the Ravens beat themselves again. Derrick Henry fumbles, opened up Buffalo for a seismic comeback. Is this the same old Baltimore Ravens?
I can make a comment that they have to start playing defense. I mean, I've been bad mouthing Lamar Jackson, and here he is. They put up 40 points. They don't win.
Scott?
You know, in the playoffs, he turns the ball over. That's obvious. But
They're like the opposite of, say, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, who all they do is win, 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 where John Harbaugh needs to be held accountable here with Lamar Jackson, because I'm tired of them winning every preseason game by 30 points and winning during the course of the regular season. The fact is they take the big fat apple each and every year during the playoffs. And when you're up 15 points, less than 4 minutes to go, and you give up 250 passing yards in the fourth quarter alone, that's on pace for 1,000 passing yards. I don't want to hear about the Ravens defense. The fact is they gave up 22 points in the fourth quarter, and that's what John Harbaugh does. He's been doing it. He's made a living doing it, and the media does not hold him accountable. And I'd like to know why, because the fact is this team is an anomaly. Statistically, offensively, defensively, they are dominant. But the play calling late, you're up 40-38 late. You have to get the first down. You want to end the game with Lamar Jackson on the field, not your defense that's just been shredded the entire fourth quarter. And yet they run a vanilla running play, gain a yard, another vanilla running play, gain a yard. And then Lamar, pulling a Lamar, he pulled a Matt Ryan, a Kirk Cousins. It's 3rd and 9. He throws a 6-yard pass and 35 guys tackle the guy.
Go ahead.
To add to what Scott just brought up, there was an article, and I didn't see this article, but somebody read it to me, one of my clients, and he said that there was an article in the paper there that Harbaugh and Baltimore lead the NFL all time in losing fourth quarter double-digit leads.
Wow.
Now, that's pretty incredible. And you sent me the picture of the list. It's long. It's a long, long list. It's not like 3 or 4 games. It's like 15 games. This is why this team doesn't win in the playoffs. This is why they don't win the key big games. It's because the coach is so conservative. You have the best player on your team, Lamar. He's put up 40 points. You know the guy on the other side, Josh Allen, you really don't want your defense to try to stop him. They haven't stopped them all night. They give up 38. You're going to give him the ball with over a minute to go down and kick a field goal? You got to be out of your mind to do that. And he is out of his mind, and that's what he did. This is a bad coaching situation, and it goes back a long way. Yes, Ray.
Oh, we're already at questions?
Yeah.
We just started.
What could you, I know.
Ray always has questions.
What could you possibly do right now? It's such a fragile situation. I agree with everything you guys both said, but you got this Harbaugh who's like just the defensive guy, so he wants the running back. If you bring somebody else in there, they're going to have to redo the entire script.
It's really mindset. It's just play to win, not to not lose. Play to win. Pick up a first down, end the game.
Exactly.
So I want to ask you this, Jim, just you. Is the NFC North the best division in football?
Well, maybe, but I can't discount Baltimore, and I can't discount the Bills, and I certainly can't discount the Chiefs, who've won 9 divisions in a row, and 5 out of 6 Super Bowls they've been invited to. It's too early. This is overreaction Wednesday. It's okay. We've seen one game. These coaches, they all get paid a lot of money. These players get paid a lot of money. They're going to make adjustments. They're going to say, hey, we didn't do very well. Our kicker stinks, so they just knocked Moody out for San Francisco. Injuries in San Francisco, by the way, it's amazing how many injuries
Yeah,
they
we're
have.
going to get to that.
Atlanta, their kicker wasn't that good last year, but they decided to give him another chance. He blew the game last week. He could have kicked the field goal, which wasn't that hard, 40 yards. They could have gone to overtime and beat the Bucs, who I think are the better team, but they have a lot of injuries and they didn't play all that well. But they made the decision to stick with Wu, and it cost them another game. Easily. Look at Cleveland. They totally outplayed Cincinnati. They missed an extra point, and the young kicker that they had, he also missed a field goal. They should have won the game. They beat them every other way. They didn't win because of the kicker. It's too early to make those kind of statements or decisions. It's way too early.
Chipper, I want to ask you this, and it going right off the heels of what you just said, I'm going to go right the opposite way here. But could Daniel Jones win the comeback player of the year? He beats Miami 33-8.
You've been listening to our conversation?
No.
No, because we had, as a sort of a joke, I had thrown that out 4 or 5 weeks ago when, we were doing the MVPs. And I said, well, watch out, Daniel Jones. And they said he wouldn't even start. As Richardson's not even a football player. But, getting back to the Ravens, one thing, they outgained every playoff team they played last year. They didn't win all those games.
Right.
And as far as the toughest conference, I have to go. I think that AFC West is pretty tough right now. San Diego certainly shored themselves up a little bit. And the Raiders are better.
Yeah, they are.
Coaching alone.
Yeah. Scott, he talked about Cleveland and Cincinnati. But is the Bengals defense better than we thought they were going to be?
The Cincinnati Bungles are a complete farce. As long as Zach Taylor is your coach, you've got problems. They took the playoffs off because they didn't qualify, and the coach whined like a little bitch. I don't know if I can say that.
Yeah, you
But
can say anything we want. We don't have beeps here,
You
but
can't say that.
we'll just say beep.
This guy, because he's incompetent, whined because the Denver Broncos played their cheerleaders in the last game when the Denver Broncos won 38-0, and Zach Taylor was saying, I think the NFL should look into this. It's like, dude, no, you need to learn how to coach. So they've had 9 months to prepare for the Cleveland Browns in a division game, and they averaged 28 points a game last year, but they got outscored in every single game because their defense is horrific. But the Cleveland Browns outgained them 22 first downs to 11. They outgained them by 150 yards. How Cincinnati won that game is a small miracle. Zach Taylor is the problem. It starts with leadership. Offensively, the Bengals have a ton of talent. Defensively, they're weak sticks. But the Browns had that game won 8 different ways.
Do you know how many yards Cincinnati gained in the second half?
2.
I thought it was 8 or 9.
It's under 10. It's under 10. Under 10.
Under 10, okay. I mean, with that offense, Joe Burrow might be one of either top 3 quarterbacks in the league with Chase and Higgins. And how the hell did they do that?
You know, I don't. It's a great question. I don't know. When you look at those numbers, I want to go back to something you talked about because you brought up the 49ers, and they were decimated last year with injuries. And it's already started this year. They beat Seattle, and they really have 3 winnable games coming up against the Saints, Cardinals, and Jaguars. But what's this team going to look like come October?
Well, they better go to the hospital and get these guys out of the hospital or something. Go to the old folks home and bring somebody out of there because this injury situation with them is terrible.
I mean, they did get Kendrick Bourne. I mean, he'll help a little bit, but they got it's deep the amount of injuries they got.
We don't even know if Purdy's going to play this week. He's got a toe and a shoulder.
All right. Let me get to some games and then find out what you guys think. Let's start with Thursday. Commanders at the Packers. Green Bay, and last time I looked, 3.5 favorite, 48.5 total. Jim, do you like either side on this?
Well, let's look at week 1.
Okay.
Washington played an absolute horrendous basketball team or football team. They might be a basketball team playing football, but they played pretty bad. Russell Wilson should be. They used to say, "Let Russ cook." They should really just cook Russ. And he's absolutely over the hill. He was bad in Seattle for 2 years. He was bad in Denver 2 years. And Denver paid his salary to go get him the hell out of town and go to Pittsburgh, and they got rid of him. And now Daboll has him. Daboll was a good coach when he had Josh Allen. Well, I could be a good coach when I have Josh Allen. So I don't think he's good. I think he's the second coach to be fired. The first one will be in Miami, McDaniel. No, I don't know how much to take out of that. How bad were the Giants? How good are Washington? I like Washington from last year. I'm going to go along with them and say give them really good effort in that game, even though the Giants were bad. As far as the other side, Green Bay looks awesome. And they picked up Parsons. That does not hurt. Now, are they going to be overrated? They just beat up a Lions team that had plenty of problems on their defensive line, offensive line. They lost their offensive coordinator and their defensive coordinator. So, again, this is so early. Overreaction Wednesday, I would say I got to give that game a good chance. You get 3.5 or 4, I would go with Washington.
Scott?
You know, last year was the time to be on Washington, not this year. That's what I said prior to last week's game when I was on the Giants +6. Can we stop talking about the Giants front 4 on defense? These clowns gave up 220 yards on the ground. If you can't stop the run, you have to stop the pass, but they can't do that either. Brian Daboll, how is this guy still in the league coaching is what I'd like to know. But the Green Bay Packers are legit. I mean, to win by 2 touchdowns at home, holding serve against the Detroit Lions, a team that they lost to at home a year ago, they're legit. They're real. I don't like laying points in the NFL. I would consider maybe laying the 3, but definitely no more than that for a small play. But Washington, again, they won so many miracle games a year ago, no less than 6 games on the last play, a pick 6, a Hail Mary against the Bears. And so I really felt they were what we saw in the playoffs of the championship game against Philly was the true Washington team where they had their asses handed to them at 32 points. But again, I'm not going to go overboard on Washington because they beat the Giants, which is comparable to playing Bishop Werman.
Chipper, your thoughts on this Thursday game?
Well, I have no love for Green Bay.
Okay.
I'll tell you that. And I think Washington didn't play all that well last time out. We were expecting them to regress a little bit after the year they had. Like I said, so many fortunate things happened to them during the year. But I'm still impressed with this Daniels. I like this Washington team, and I think I would take the points. I know I would take the points here. I'm not going to lay it.
Okay. Let me go to you, Chipper, and come back this way and go to Sunday games. Let me start with Cleveland at Baltimore. Ravens opened at 12.5. Last time I looked, it's down to 11.5, total at 45. Based on what we saw on week 1, do you like either side?
I don't play double-digit games for the most part. I think, without a doubt, this will be the number 1 selection in the Circus Survivor contest. I would imagine. And the Ravens got to be sick. They really do. Now, did they come and play a complete game?
And Cleveland got him last year, I believe, in Baltimore. Didn't they get in there last year?
Cleveland handles. I mean, the way they should have won the game and they blew it. Defensively, I think Cleveland can stay in this game.
Scott, what's your thoughts on this? And then I got a new game for you.
When you have a good team that gets embarrassed, and the Ravens are a very good team, and they were embarrassed on national TV. They can't wait to get back out there. Good news for them, they get to play a weak sister in the Cleveland Browns. But the Browns do have a good defense. I'm telling you, man, they play good defense, and offensively they can surprise. But Baltimore will respond. I will not ever lay double digits in an NFL game. I will be on the Browns plus the points. I am in first place in the Survivor contest, me and 18,000 others.
We'll see how you are next week. Jim, Bears and at Lions. I mean, Bears look the same old Chicago down the stretch again on Sunday or on Monday. Open at 4.5 up to 5.5 total, 47.5. What do you think on this game?
Well, first of all, I'm not a Caleb Williams fan. I just don't see him having control of the team, of the line of scrimmage, understanding what's going on defense and making quick adjustments. He throws off balance a lot. You see some of the passes go into the ground 6 feet before the receiver. I think he was overdrafted. I think he's overrated. The Lions have issues because they lost players to injury, to off-season, the defensive and offensive coordinators. But they got embarrassed last week. And I have more faith in, and you've got to remember, the head coach for the Bears was the offensive coordinator for the Lions last year. I believe that the Lions will win this game. Now, do I believe they're going to cover this kind of spread? I don't like laying points early in the season, but I don't want to be on the Bears.
Okay. You like the total at all?
I would bet it under.
Okay. Jim, back to you. San Francisco at New Orleans opened up at 6.5, down to 4.5, 42.5 total. With everything going on from San Fran going on the road, is this an upset in the making?
Well, because of the injuries, it certainly is. I mean, Rattler, he didn't look all that terrible. But is he an NFL quarterback? Probably not. But we don't know what the hell San Francisco is going to bring to the table because Purdy has a shoulder and a toe. So I don't know. But the one thing I would do with this, absolutely, without a doubt, I'd bet it under.
Scott?
Well, the San Francisco 49ers, you talk about the Saints possibly as an upset. The only thing they're going to have an upset would be an upset stomach because this team has no talent. And you have a questionable coach. We're talking about the Saints, a one-score game. They're down 20-13. And I'm watching the game. It's obvious that the receiver picked up the first down. His elbow was in. And the coach after the game mistakenly said, well, unlike, one knee equals 2 feet, one elbow does not. It's like, hello, yes, you should have challenged. You would have got the first down. You might have had a chance to force OT. He has since gone on record as correcting himself, but how do you not know that? Who does he think he is? Kyle Shanahan, not understanding the overtime rules in the Super Bowl that I attended a couple of years ago?
They're not paid enough, Scott.
I guess not.
Chipper, what's your thoughts on Seattle going to Pittsburgh? Seattle opened up at 2.5. Now it's up to 340 total.
I was pretty disappointed in Seattle folding in the last few minutes of that game.
I think a lot of people are. I think a lot of people were big on Seattle.
I really could have used it. And I think they're going to win and play tough against Pittsburgh. I have so many questions about the Steelers right now. I mean, they went in, they beat the Jets because the Jets handled them the game. They were down 15 in the fourth. And Rodgers had a great day, didn't he? He really did. I think Seattle can play with Pittsburgh. I would take the points here.
Jim?
I agree.
You agree?
I agree with Chip. I think that you had a game last week where the Jets actually should have beat Pittsburgh. But Rodgers is a pro, and he's probably one of the best passers that ever played the game, whether this decade or previous decades. He's amazingly talented. He is older. He doesn't move as well. But Seattle, I lost with Seattle last week. I had them. I would take another shot with them, but I'm going to make sure I get a good line. I'm not going to chase the number. If I can get 3.5 or more, I would take it. I'm not going to take 3. 3.5 or more, I would take Seattle.
It's at 3. Anybody haven't seen it more than higher than 3 right now? Or is it still at 3?
You can always shop. There's plenty of places.
Right. Gotcha. Scott, let's talk about the Rams going to the Titans. It's 5.5, 41.5 total. To me, this game, I don't know which side to go. I'm not sure. I think the Rams are better than they were last year, but I don't know what to think about the Titans.
Well, Tennessee had a very good defense a year ago. Doug Kazarian, my friend, former main man there, betting analyst at ESPN for 10 years, asked me halfway during the season who the worst team in football was. I said it was the Tennessee Titans, and I was mocked and heckled. But guess who got the number one pick? Who's laughing now, Doug? Doug's not here, is he? Hope he doesn't kick my ass. But I have to tell you that the Rams, I'm telling you, talent-wise, offensively, I think they're improved a little bit defensively. They just came on big time last year. I'm talking about a number of sacks the last 2 games of the season, and they gave the Eagles all they could handle. They were inside the red zone, down 6, chance to possibly win the game. The big question mark is the injury status of Stafford. He's the man. He's a stud. I think they have the best backup quarterback in all of football in Garoppolo, if the worst should happen. But before the season started, I know the crack man, he speaks, I listen, and you should too. But I know he's anti the Rams to make the playoffs. I actually bet them before the back really started to be a problem at minus 160. The Rams and the Niners both to make the playoffs simply because they have a cupcake schedule, and the Niners are just going to walk into the playoffs. So the more things change, the more they stay the same. Last year, Niners banged up. They're banged up again, but they're still going to win because, again, look at their schedule and who they play week in, week out outside the division. Will not lay points on the road. The Tennessee Titans only had 7 first downs last week against Denver. The Broncos had 4 turnovers and still beat Cam Ward and the Titans. Cam had 100 yards passing, turnovers. I mean, you expect that with a rookie on the road. So respectfully, I've said a lot without saying anything at all. No opinion.
Scott, let me ask you this because you brought up something about the Rams defense, and I've had some people in my ear telling me that, and it's funny that Crackman doesn't think they're going to make the playoffs because I have people in my ear saying that the Rams defense might be the most underrated defense in the NFL this year. Do you agree?
Well, I think they're definitely underrated, and I'm telling you, was the question for me, by the way?
Yeah, that's for you.
Good. I wanted to make sure because I don't want to be slighting my friend Chip and the legend here, Mr. Feist. But no, I think that they're young, and I think they're hungry, and I think the Rams are legit defensively. But it's really about, and I'm surprised offensively they have some real weapons, but they just don't score many points. But if you hold the Houston Texans to less than 2 scores, you're doing something right.
Chip, we talked just a little bit ago about Daniel Jones. So let me go to Denver and Indy. Broncos minus 2.5, 42.5 total. Do you like Indy?
I like Indy a lot. I do. I like them to win the game.
Okay.
I just think they're in a good spot right here. I would have ordinarily thought that Tennessee might have been in a good spot, but with a rookie quarterback and the Rams coming off. Everyone's so impressed with the Rams and their loss to Philadelphia last year. And it really carried over. And they won the first game. Quarterback's got to be healthy. He's got a bad back. And the Rams, where they're going to go without him. Well, Garoppolo's not bad, of course.
Jim, do you like this? Anything on this game with Denver and Indy?
Before it was obvious that Stafford has a back issue, I had picked the Rams to win their division and to get into the championship game in the NFC. And actually against Tampa Bay. Now that's a lot to say. A lot said there, but that was my pick early. And then of course the injury came out. Don't know how serious that is. Don't know if he'll make it through. He's been around a long time. He's 37 years old. He played for a very bad Detroit Lions team for many years, and he got beat up pretty bad. But he's a tough guy, and he's really talented, and he's a warrior. I like the Rams a lot. This particular game, I like under. I don't see you're going to see a lot of points. I don't think the other side's going to put up a lot of points, and I don't think the Rams are going to put up a lot of points. I also feel that McVay is a smart coach. He's not going to put Stafford in a lot of danger. He's going to keep the ball on the ground as much as possible, throw shorts, so that he doesn't get racked up and beat up, because he has to protect this guy. Yeah, you can drop off and go to Garoppolo, but Garoppolo's not Stafford. it's hard to replace these top quarterbacks.
What's your thoughts on Denver and Indy?
Well, first of all, Denver has a fantastic defense. That's what they were known for last year. And they have a new quarterback that a lot of times these quarterbacks that had a good year as a rookie do show regression. He didn't look that good last week. Now he goes on the road. I would go with what Chipper said. I like Indy in this spot. I don't like a lot of points. I don't think there's going to be a lot of points in this game. The Colts are not going to score like they did against Miami. Miami's probably the worst team in football. So they may be less than the Saints. I don't know, in that range. But I would say the under. I would definitely take the Colts.
Let me ask you this about Miami. You said the coach is the first one to go.
He has to be.
Will he be having Thanksgiving dinner at home? Will he be gone by then?
If the wife lets him in the house.
Let's talk about the Super Bowl rematch. Eagles at Kansas City. It opened up at 1, it's up to 1.5, 47 total. Last time I looked, the Chiefs wide receiver Xavier Worthy was considered day-to-day. What's your thoughts?
You're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
I'm not sure the Chiefs are really healthy. I see some holes. Obviously, their wide receiver issues are real. Their offensive line, the Eagles are the better team. They have the better offensive line, the better defensive line, the healthier. Everything's healthier about them. Playing in Kansas City, off the revenge in the Super Bowl, off the loss last week, and they're going to get Carter back. He's not going to spit on anybody this week, so he'll be there, and he is a monster. They made Dallas look a lot better, and Dak Prescott sitting back there being able to throw the ball was because they weren't putting any pressure on him, and the guy that puts the pressure on him was sitting in the locker room on suspension from spitting on him. So that's a whole different look right there. So don't overreact to that. Dak Prescott's a good quarterback, but he's not as good as what we saw in that game. And Philadelphia is a monster. But right now I'm passing. I just don't see anything.
Chipper, what's your thoughts?
Well, I know the Super Bowl rematches have happened 10 times. This is the 11th time. The team that won the Super Bowl in the rematch has won 7 out of the 10 times. So that would give me Philadelphia. But it just looks so easy to take Philadelphia. I mean, this Kansas City looks very ugly to me here. So I'll probably have them.
Scott?
I like Kansas City. Talking about 9 days to prepare with Andy Reid, and they've got a bad taste in their mouth. I mean, this is a revenge Super Bowl. They also lost opening weekend on a neutral field in Brazil. You give Andy Reid extra time to prepare for a one-game situation. I respect and love Philadelphia, man, talent-wise on both sides of the ball. But give me the home team, Arrowhead, Kansas City Chiefs, plus a point and a half. See the cashier.
Sounds good. Before I get into Monday's game, anybody out there? We got a great full house here today, Jim. All this, not to see you and I, to see Chipper and Scott. That's why they all came here, for sure.
Absolutely. They didn't come to see me.
No. Is there any questions from the crowd on any of the games we just went through? Crackman.
The Rams is price dependent.
It is?
So the Rams was plus 165 when I bet it. It's still plus 165 now after week 2 to not make the playoffs. So it's
plus 165 not to make the playoffs.
Minus 110, I'm actually would bet the other way, obviously. So the Rams not to make it plus 165 that's the reason why it was a bet.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the season, and also why I still lean to it now.
Let me ask you a question about that. With San Francisco having so many injuries, and obviously they are the team that would be most competitive with the Rams. We don't know what Arizona is going to be. We always say Arizona is going to be this and that,
Every year.
but then they always fall apart. And where is the competition going to come from if it's not San Francisco? Who's going to win that division? If the Rams win the division, they're in the playoffs, even if they're 8 and 9.
Sure.
So that's why I think unless Stafford gets hurt and the backup can't do anything, I don't see them losing this division.
And you're actually talking to someone that actually had them last year to win a division at 4-1, and the last week they captured that. So to go the opposite way, it was probably a little more quarterback dependent making that bet when I made it. But however, I still do I think Arizona is probably, it's still a decent team. And I think San Fran will come around too. But and listen, it's not. There's many more bets I bet a lot more money on.
But plus 65. If you got plus 65, you would maybe like the Rams.
That made it a play. It was
Yeah.
plus 165.
Okay.
And I just checked just now. I don't
Price dependent, like you said.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
That Bills Ravens.
Bills Ravens.
Do you guys think they should win on 4th down at the end of the game? The Ravens?
I definitely should. You would not give. If I'm the coach, if I'm anything on that team, you do not give the ball to Josh Allen with over a minute to go to get a field goal. That's absolutely insanity. You haven't stopped them all night. Nobody in the league ever stops them. And all they need to do is get a field goal. And they have a good field goal kicker that never misses, even though he's been sitting on the bench for a while, for a couple of years.
Down, they should have said, okay, we got 2
I go for it. You get the best. Your best player is Lamar Jackson. You pay him the most. You see, they do the most. They got 40 points on the board. He can't get me a first down on 4 plays or 3 plays. That's what they should have done, in my opinion.
Forget third down, forget fourth down. What about first down? You got $1.50 to go and 2 to 3 timeouts for the opposition. It's not that hard to get into field goal range. So the play calling on a play action pass would be nice. A play run option with Lamar. He whined after the game. Oh, I was cramping up. It's like, what is it? What are you, LeBron James all of a sudden? Cramping up. Come on, it's go time. And then on fourth down, yeah, you have to go for it on 4th and 3. Even if you don't get it, hopefully you get a 3 and out. They kick a field goal, but you still have a minute plus to come back and
kick your own field goal
to win the game. So it was just a blunder. But I've seen it happen countless times. Yeah. You know, it's one of those things where John Harbaugh, he's kind of like the Doc Rivers of the NBA. He'll find a way. And I cannot be biased. You know, I'm still not over the fact that the Ravens blew a 10-point fourth quarter lead against the Raiders and knocked me out of the Survivor after I won 11-0 the year before. So, again, you're asking the wrong guy.
Chipper, let me ask you, start with the Monday games. Tampa Bay at Houston opened up at 3, down to 2.5, 42.5 total. What do you like anything here?
I think all the action's going to come on Tampa. And the line's soft. I mean, I have Houston open up the favorite. I would go to Houston. The game on Monday night that I like the Raiders. So.
Okay. Scott, you like this first game, Tampa at Houston?
Yeah, and the Tampa Bay-Houston contest, I expect Houston. They're a decent team. And the thing I've always said about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they were extremely lucky to beat Atlanta. And they said on the podcast with Feist and Chipper last week that, you know, Tampa Bay, you cannot run against them, but you can pass all day long, and it's a passing league. And you're taking Tampa Bay on the road against Houston, a team that was right in the contest against a good Rams team. So I like the home team here, but I am going to the Raiders game on Monday night, and I like the Raiders plus the 3 and a hook. I've already played it.
Jim, speaking of Chargers at Raiders, 3.5, 46.5. Geno Smith, that's the franchise debut record versus New England. What are your thoughts on the Raiders?
Well, you have Super Bowl coach against Super Bowl coach. You got Herbert against Geno. Carroll and Geno have been together for years in Seattle. He's a quality quarterback. And this is a home dog in divisional home dog. That is not a bad bet to ever make. Divisional home dogs do very well. These are the most important games. As I was just talking to Crackman, when you win your division, you get into the playoffs. And the goal of all these players is to get into the playoffs. Remember, these guys are playing for their jobs, for their reputation, for the money, for their contracts. Getting into the playoffs rather than sitting at home and watching the other guys, the other 14 teams in the playoffs, that's not what they want to do. These are important games. The Raiders are tough. They're well coached. I mean, now with Carroll's there, they were a mess last year. They had no quarterback and no coach. Now they have a quarterback and a coach. They played well on the road last week at the Patriots, cross-country trip. Now, Chargers looked awfully good last week. I would have to, 10 days ago. They did. They were very impressive. Jim Harbaugh's an impressive coach. Herbert never had a chance with Staley and all the coaching garbage that he's had. He looked really good. It's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a very tough game. I would have to take the points. I would love to get 4. I mean, I shop for numbers. I don't try to bet bad numbers. I'm not chasing a number. And if I can't get a number, I just don't play.
So let me ask you this, Jim. We all know how bad the Raiders were last year. Could the Raiders be the team that sees their win total increase the most of any other team in the NFL this year from last year?
Any other team in
Good
the
question.
NFL, it's 31 other teams I have to think about.
I mean, from what the amount of games they won last year versus the amount of games they could win this year, will they be the team that has the biggest win differential?
But they have 6 teams. They got 6 games against this division, and all of these teams in the division are supposedly power rating wise better than them. So it's going to be very difficult. To pick up the win on the road last week was big. Can they increase to that level? Probably not, because I think the divisional games are too tough. So to be the most improved team against what the total was, win total, probably not because of that.
Chipper?
Despite their loss, I think I would consider New England. Scotty just confirmed they only won 4 games last year. So maybe I'm just still stuck in that whole New England mode and waiting for the Boston Patriots to do well. But I think they're a side.
Scott, what's your thought on that?
I'd say no. And it's because, to Jim's point, the fact that they play in a tough division, 6 games, their non-division schedule is a little bit challenging as well. And 31 other teams, I think any one of those would have more. I'm high on the Raiders. I like Carroll, proven winner. He's an antique age-wise, but I really believe age is just a number, and his number is unlisted.
Ray, before I go to your question, and anybody else who wants questions, I want to thank J. Lore Wines, because we're going to be giving away some bottles of wine. So I want to thank everybody from J. Lore for giving away some wine, and thank everybody for coming. We'll be back next week again. We'll be here every Wednesday at noon. Next week on the panel, along with Jim and I, is going to be Wes Reynolds and Jeff Whitelaw. So make your plans to be back here next Monday. Ray, what's your question?
Pretty much for all you guys, this is a good one here. What were you more impressed with? And J.J. McCarthy come back versus Josh Allen. And I know everyone expected Minnesota to have a little decline this year, a little step back. Did your sentiment change after you saw that from J.J.? And do you think that they're viable, or do you still need to see a bigger window? Were you guys shocked? And do you like an exact that Bills would beat Minnesota in the Super Bowl? Exactly. All that.
Well, the Vikings have, and I know Scott's going to agree, they have a fantastic roster. I mean, top to bottom, they're as good as anybody in the league roster-wise. Young coach, or not coach, but young quarterback. First 3 quarters, I wasn't all that impressed. But I'll tell you what, when he opened it up and got comfortable and got confidence, man, he looked awfully good. Big arm, made a lot of moves. He was awesome. He sees the field well, which I don't see from Williams at all. I don't see him seeing the field well, which is key. He doesn't have command of the offense. It looked like McCarthy in the 4th quarter did. So I'm kind of impressed with them, and maybe with the Lions, if the Lions fall after the players they've lost, this could be the 2nd best team in that division. Very possible. But like I said, this is overreaction Wednesday off of 1 game. And they're not going to play the Bears every week. So and the Bears are, granted, they have a better head coach this year, but still they have Williams. But as far as Minnesota, I'm impressed with what I saw in the 4th quarter. I don't know if that carries over this week.
People forget that the Vikings a year ago were an eyelash away from being the top seeded team in the NFC. They're stacked. They're loaded. They won 14 games with Sam Darnold as your QB. We saw what he did in week 1 against the Niners, so he came back to earth. So forget J.J. McCarthy. I mean, he's a rookie. As long as he just stays out of the way and doesn't throw a pick 6. And I talked about the Bears. Let's talk about the Bears. I've said, listen, never trust a grown man who paints his fingernails. Under 8.5.
Any other questions? Chipper, I want to start with you, and we'll finish here with Jim. Is there any other game that I didn't cover that you'd like to talk about, or something that grabs your attention?
Well, I'll mention on the Viking game, McCarthy looked like a rookie quarterback for 3 periods, and then all of a sudden, I mean, he was threading the needle and throwing the ball and throwing it with authority and throwing with confidence.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's going to carry over here. Atlanta, the way they lost, missing a field goal, missing a, you got virtually a rookie here, Penix. He played 3 games maybe last year, 4 games. I think he started.
Yeah.
And I sort of lean toward Atlanta here. I do. I don't know why, but maybe it's a rookie quarterback with Minnesota. In spite of him being so impressive in the final period, he did look good.
The thing that bothers me about Atlanta, and I almost bet them, is that kicker. He didn't have a good year last year, and then he missed a field goal at the end to tie the game, and he's still there.
That's amazing too.
Well, he might be having Thanksgiving dinner with the coach from Miami.
Well,
Is the Cleveland kicker going? Did they get rid of the
Well, the
Cleveland kicker?
Cleveland kickers are still there too. But Moody, they got rid of Moody in San Francisco. But I felt like Woo should have been gone last year, but he's still there.
Scott, any other games you want to talk about that we didn't mention?
I'm the Atlanta Falcons. You know, I lost money. I had the Falcons again on Sunday, but I think as much respect that I have for the Minnesota Vikings, Atlanta plus the points here, I think there's some real value there. I mean, statistically, Atlanta won every stat in that game, and you know, Mike Ditka, legendary coach of the Bears, would say stats are for losers. Right. Coming from a guy who won one Super Bowl, but I'm telling you,
One's better than zero.
the final score, it's one more than me, that's for sure. The final score is just one more stat. So everyone, the eye test, everyone remembers what happened most recently. Minnesota coming back, looking good, feeling good. And Atlanta, questionable kicker. I'm not down on Koo. The guy's proven, and he'll bounce back. I think they made the right call. And Atlanta, plus 3.5 to 4 points. Give me the points.
Jim, any other game?
Well, let me just point this out. In week 2, the 0-1 teams versus a 1-0 team. Now, this is a trend. You can follow this or not. I look at it, but I don't blindly follow it. The 0-1 teams from week 1 versus a 1-0 team from week 1 have a statistical edge in coming back, bouncing back, and covering the spread, winning and covering the spread, both. Well, it's a thing. Nobody wants to start the season off 0-2, but nobody ever wants to lose. But there is a little bit more motivation after you lost to not start the year off 0-2. So over the years, when you look at this, it does pencil out that it's a winning bet. Will I blindly bet that? No. But I'll definitely think about it when I'm looking at other statistics and other things about the game.
Okay, that's a interesting point. Any last question? Yes, sir.
Yeah, as far as J.J. McCarthy, I think rookie quarterbacks, their biggest thing is the speed of the game. They don't, it's a little faster in the NFL than it is in college.
True.
So I think he adjusted to that. And plus, when you've been a winner your whole life, all of a sudden when it comes to the fourth quarter, you say, oh, I'm in the NFL, I'm supposed to lose, I'm a rookie. He's a winner. He won every game in high school. He won with Michigan. And he says, I'm going to pull the game out. I'm going to figure out a way to win this. And they trusted him to do it.
You know, Minnesota, it validates your selection. I mean, they sat with the guy for a year, didn't get in the game, maybe 3 practice plays last season.
And plus, he's a good teammate because it's hard to sit and watch and not, you know, they must love him because they played hard for him.
Well, sometimes it's good for these guys to sit and watch.
Absolutely.
I mean, a lot of times they rush them in because they got the rookie contract and they want to be able to play them where they don't have to pay them much. But last year he was forced to sit and watch, so maybe that helped him.
I was impressed. He doesn't act like a rookie. I was impressed with his demeanor after the pick 6 on the road, hostile environment, division game. You're down 17-6. He's on the sidelines trying to amp up his offensive linemen respectfully, and I'd probably be in their camp. They didn't want to hear it. Rook, you know, throw to the right team. Forget completing the pass. Stop being colorblind.
Plus, he had a pro coach in college.
27-1.
Harbaugh was his coach.
27-1.
Who was this coach?
Harbaugh.
Okay.
So,
Right.
you know, so
That ain't bad.
helps.
That's
No.
not bad.
No.
I just want to say it for the record, the Ravens were averaging 9 yards per possession before all that shit happened.
Well, that's why he wanted to give the ball to the other side.
Right. That's why he chose to punt the ball and give it to Josh Allen. 22.
That's why it doesn't make any sense.
22 points in the fourth quarter. Allen had 250 yards passing in the fourth quarter.
Whoa.
And you take Lamar Jackson off the field. But forget fourth down, first, second, third down. And Lamar Jackson, it's on him. Why are you throwing, padding your stats on a 3rd and 8 play, throwing a 6-yard pass? Hopkins had no chance to pick up the first down.
It was poorly coached.
I want to make sure we thank some people before we go. First off, the people on the panel. Go ahead. You got something?
Yeah, I do.
Go.
Chipper, why don't you mention the show that you host that you and I and Scott are on?
We do a show. It's called Vegas Legends on gamblersworld.net, and Scotty and Jim and myself, I host it, and they're coming with the same information you have here. Sometimes a little more because I get at them.
Now, Chipper and I started working together. He had a show called The A Play, and he was living in New York at the time. And this was 46 years ago.
It was a while.
Now, we'd go to
1979.
this little studio in New York City. I'd fly from Vegas to New York City. I'd go to this little studio, and this was so fancy. We were sitting on a railroad tie between two boxes. That's how we did the show.
Yeah. It was an illusion, Jim. Everything's an
Well,
illusion.
definitely.
Like those we do.
Definitely.
You know, we sell hot air.
And we're an illusion.
Nobody cared what you were sitting on. They just wanted to know what you were going to say.
You know, one of our salesmen for Jim a while back said to me, he says, "Well, what do you want?" He said, "We're selling air and hot air at that."
From there, I mean, I did this 21 weeks in a row. It was pretty amazing. I was exhausted doing it. I'd go out of there, and ESPN would send a limo to New York to limo me to Bristol, Connecticut, and I would do a show up there in Bristol, 21 weeks in a row with Chris Berman and the other group that was there as well. So it was and this was 46 years ago.
1979 we started that.
I didn't even think we were that old.
You're not.
Hope not. I hate to think about it, really.
Chip, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Scott, thanks for coming back on the show.
Mind if I take a quick minute to promote this book that I
Sure,
just bought?
feel free to.
The best $25 I spent autographed. Tommy, our host. It's called Shadows Over Clear Lake, 1959, the day the music died. I'm a big music guy. Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, Richie Valens, Waylon Jennings was scheduled to be on that plane. This is the inside scoop, everything you ever wanted to know but were too afraid to ask. Tommy, I had no idea, and once I got word, it's like, sign me up, and autograph free.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been humbling. I'm honored to write the book, and the response has been much more than I thought was going to be. There's a lot more interest in the story than I thought, so I appreciate your support in saying that.
Anybody out there have a question? Want anything, a game or position or prop or anything you want to talk about?
Albert.
Yeah, Albert?
I noticed that the money line favorites this week were 10-2.
Money line favorites for 10-2.
That's probably why all the Survivor people survived.
Yeah. One thing I want to clarify, I've been talking about radio and TV a couple of weeks ago. During the preseason, there was a trend over Red Rover. In fact, 14 of 16 preseason games went over at one time. And I've been talking to anyone who would listen, which really wasn't that many people, over the past 2 weeks going into the course of the regular season. There was an overlay. Sportsbooks have been forced to go vertical on the over based on what happened during preseason, but history has a way of repeating itself. The first 2-3 weeks of the season, weeks 1, 2, and 3, defenses are ahead of offenses. To my point, 12 wins, 4 losses to the under. The other thing is I want to give a shout out to the Crackman. Please understand, I reference him because I have the utmost respect. We happen to be on opposite sides, but like him, I'm about price integrity. I have the Rams to make the playoffs minus 160, and it shot up to $2, and then it came back, and now it's minus 85 plus 65 in the take back. And I have to tell you, I think the Rams and the Niners both will make the playoffs based on their schedule. Just like a 3 years ago, the year of the clown from New York, Dable won Coach of the Year, which was a complete farce. They were the 3rd best team in their division. Washington was the bottom feeder, and yet Dable won Coach of the Year because of the New York media. Never trust the media on these awards because they don't have a clue. I'll take a professional sports bettor opinion over a media type any day of the week, twice on Sunday. Dable was Coach of the Year, and the guy's a complete fraud. Sirianni, best record in football, only won 9 games the year before, had the best record in the division, and took his team to the Super Bowl. But Dable got Coach of the Year. Give me a break.
Chipper.
Well, Tommy, I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get to talk about one of the better games out there, the Giants and the Cowboys.
Oh,
And, what are we going to see there? I mean, Russell Wilson, 17 for 37.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. I
Yeah.
mean, 20 incompletions.
Jim, you're always, you're a
Well-
big Jerry Jones fan.
Oh, oh my God! Don't make me choke. No, he's a bad owner. Obviously, has a lot of money. Has ability to make a lot of money. He owns the team. He can do whatever he wants with it. It's his toy, so to speak. But he makes a lot of bad decisions. He should not be making all those decisions. The problem here is, can you trust Dallas? Because I certainly do not trust the Giants. I don't trust Russell Wilson. They have a backup quarterback that he's going to be a brand new guy. He's going to be a rookie dart. And he should probably be going because they're not going anywhere in this division. Wilson was cooked 5 years ago. He's still around. He's still collecting I got to give him credit. He's still collecting a big paycheck for doing this.
Jim, they just signed Winston to an extension, a 3-year guaranteed $47 million to be a
Russell?
backup.
No, who?
Oh, Jameson Winston.
Jameis
Oh,
Winston.
well, at least he's entertaining. But he's fun.
Let me ask you this. Will Dallas win more than 2 games at home this year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
They have a prolific offense. They're going to put up a lot of points. Dak is a good quarterback. If you can keep him standing up, he had the break last week with Carter being out. That provides the pressure up the middle. Philadelphia couldn't do that without him. He will be back this week, so look out, Kansas City, because he's going to be there, and I'm sure he's going to be pissed because he just had to pay. He got a suspension, had to pay $57,000 for spitting on Dak, so he's going to want to show up and do some stuff. That's Mahomes going to have to deal with that one. But as far as Dallas is concerned, they're going to put up points about anywhere against anyone. And the Giants are not that good either side of the ball. I don't know how Russ is going to be able to handle it. I think he's too old. I don't think he should be playing in the league anymore, even as a backup. I think he should be gone.
Don't forget, following the show on Proline TV, Greg DePalma will be live with more pro and college football handicapping talk. How about a round of applause for everybody here on the panel and Albert Scallion, the proprietor of Dom DeMarco's, for having the show. We'll see you guys next Wednesday here at noon with Wes Reynolds and Jeff Whitelaw. My name is Tom Canale. Good luck on your bets this week, everybody.